Hi, everybody. I'm Ben Doozy. I'm in Kentucky. I am here with my friends Rocky and Emmy, who are in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And all of us are part of this weird contingent of foreign volunteers who really by accident fell into the business of being amateur humanitarians and have dedicated our lives really full time for some time to saving lives,
Mm,
which sounds really incredible. And I'm sure for you guys as well, it's kind of hard to believe every day that you're doing what you're doing and you're involved in what you're involved in. It's difficult for people to believe, but it's very much true. So why don't you guys just explain a little bit how you got involved in this and how you got to the point where you're waking up and saying, I am not helping. I am the humanitarian relief effort for the Ukrainian people. And if I don't do
right.
this, it's not gonna happen. So
That's absolutely correct. Emmy and I are both Russian linguists, and on February 24th, when the war broke out, we knew right away. We've been thinking about doing humanitarian aid work elsewhere, and when the war broke out in Ukraine, we're like, that's where we have to be. And we thought our language skills would come into play. I'm a chef. She's a firefighter, medic, soldier, badass. And
she is a
so I'm
badass.
I
She's
could I
definitely
could put
badass.
ketchup in ramekins and hand it to people or whatever,
Yeah.
but we had to be there, and so we quit our jobs and went over at the time in Poland, and that's where we met in Medica, just doing what we could. Nobody knew what was going on. We showed up
with a
like
bag of medical supplies, kids' toys, feminine supplies, just the basics that we thought we could bring, and met you where you're just, affecting families and kids and how many families' lives you touched. And that's how we feel. It's just like if we can even help one kid or one family, it's made a difference.
right,
And we see you doing that.
and then
Very
we also
kind, Emmy. Thank you.
we and as you did as well, because this will be your fourth trip back, will it not?
Yes.
And we realized that once we got there and we had our feet on the ground and we started doing some work, whether it was just carrying a duffel bag of medical supplies across into Ukraine and then turning right around and coming back into Poland, that made a difference. And then we realized that, like, our energies are really limitless. So how can we proactively direct them, to further this cause? And so we moved a little closer in. So now we're living in Ukraine, and we've just come back to like sell all our stuff and generate a little revenue and return, because there's so much work to do. But and not that it's easy, but it's emotionally easy. It's fulfilling to be able to show up and affect positive change on, like, one orphan child or one family who is displaced. And it's
Spending time with the kids, spending time with the families.
yeah, it's key. And we also open up our home to uh you know lots of different kinds of foreign volunteers, so good folks like yourself. And there's also a lot of like former military. These guys aren't mercenaries. They're coming over to advise or train Ukrainian military, what have you. It's not a dodgy operation. These are people whose hearts are in the right place, and we're all pushing the same direction. Victory for Ukraine.
So it's funny. So like there's a general common trajectory, right? Like so you guys you said you're linguist. Is that what you said? Right. So like
Yeah.
in Kentucky, we just like we say like you guys speak Russian. Right.
That's correct.
I mean, you guys are more Santa Fe, it's an elevated kind of thing. For us, it's just, but all this goes down. We're looking at it. We have a kind of you got a background where you pay attention to the area, and like it's pretty quick right away when all this went down, right? That like whatever was going on, we didn't know. It's a cluster. I mean, this is a disaster, right? You've
Yes.
got nobody expected the war. Nobody expected it to last, and then all of a sudden you have a war that's being fought for the first time in human history in a way where the civilian population is, there's no difference between civilian and military targets, which means that the
No,
number
sir.
of civilians being affected. So this is like a humanitarian disaster. You have an epic refugee crisis right in the middle of Europe that no one saw coming,
Right.
nobody's planned for, and people like you and I look at this and and you think, I mean, it's the same as me. I speak Russian.
Innocent targets.
I
But-
can,
and
it looks like they could use
Yeah,
some
this-
help, right?
This exactly, and this is why, when we were talking about setting up this conversation, so we can, just help inform individuals who might be less informed about what is going on over there. But the work that individuals like you and I are doing, we're not talking about the Red Cross, we're not talking about UNICEF, we're not talking about the UN in general. 24% of all the humanitarian aid that is arriving in the east of Ukraine comes from individuals like you and I. And the work that you are doing is literally saving lives. I mean, 24%. And we're talking about that includes, government participation, non-military government participation, but 24% of like the food and the diapers and the hand sanitizer comes from folks like us.
And it's probably a lot more. And I want to get like Emmy's take on this as well, but just to catch us all up. So, I mean, basically, it was the same path. You go over, I go over. I just happened to go over a little bit before you guys. And I don't know about you, but when I went over, I was not going over to be the humanitarian effort for the Ukrainian people. I've never done this before. It's just a little me. And I figured that in some way, somebody's got this, right? I went over there to help. And I get over there and I, see that there's all kinds of other people like me that have come there, and holy shizzle. I don't know how this is, but the Red Cross doesn't have this. The UN doesn't have this. No one has this. And we are not helping the humanitarian effort. We are it. And that was a big moment. I'm sure it was for you guys to realize that, because at that point you realize, well, hold on, this isn't like a next man up situation. If we don't do this, somebody else, no one does, and somebody doesn't get help. So you guys went from, I don't know anybody that went quicker from, I mean, when you came over, because it was April, right? The first time you were
early April.
Yeah, I remember the first time you guys came in the tent. I'm sitting there in a pink bunny costume, being like, it's not what it looks like. And
I remember saying to Emmy when I saw you in the costume that you went over to like your corner in the Chinese tent and you took off the hat, or maybe the headpiece was already off, and I was like, I gotta go meet this guy. I just walked over and put my hand out because I was like, this is, and then it turns out you're an American, and
right, and it was all unexpected. So I got kind of plugged in accidentally when I went over there, but you guys showed up, and for a while there, you were making a difference every day, but you were kind of waiting for that thing that you could do that really could, I mean, maximize your potential,
Exactly.
And boy, you found it, right? Because now you guys are a critical.
Well, we found out that we're just doing it on our own by the networking that we've been doing and the people that we've met. We've still just been doing it on our own and hoping to get with an organization that's willing to, support it. But in the meantime, we're figuring it out one day at a time, one step at a time.
Yeah, we don't, I mean, it would be great to have bags full of cash, but in lieu of that, what we can do is what we can do. So it's just, and it's little things like, and I don't mean to diminish what you did or are doing over there, but like standing at the border in a chicken costume or a bunny costume and greeting, these people who have been, they might have had to abandon their cars 20 kilometers away and just take what they could carry, a family album, their pussycat in a little carrier, 2 children in tow, and walk across the border. And then there you are, like greeting them with a hug, and like, joy is underappreciated, I think, in these kind of situations, because bringing joy to people who otherwise do not have that is huge. I mean, we take it for granted. Like in the US, we feel like, oh, we have a right to be happy. Okay, well, isn't that nice? That's not how the rest of the world works. And in the war zone that is Ukraine, happiness is not assured. And if we can do a little bit like giving, and I'm not saying this is going to stop the war or stop the violence, but let's say you give a child a little candy and for a minute, or a little toy, and they open it up and they have it, or they have a little toy and they play for a second, and they're not thinking about the 30 cars full of incinerated bodies that they saw outside of the gas station on their way to, safety.
Right.
If that was the only thing we did, fabulous. And we continued to do, all of us, you as well. That's what we need to continue
Bits of
to
joy.
do. Yeah, bits of joy and all, humanitarian aid, obviously, and this costs money. So we're spending, we're selling everything. I don't know how much of this you can see behind us, but our apartment is a disaster because we're just packing everything up, seeing what we can donate, seeing what we can, sell. And we're having an estate sale, and like, just give us whatever, here's some kitchen stuff, give us $1, just take it off our hands.
Which is
To
great.
get over there and fund the operation.
Well, and I wanted to talk about that because you guys are in operation now. So you went from, hey, we think we can help, we're going to go over there, getting over there, kind of, taking, it takes a little time to plug in where you can really maximize your potential. But I think you've maximized it. So now you are, probably without even realizing it. Something tells me that you probably didn't even realize it until I mentioned it the other day in a video. But you guys are a critical, you're a lot of things. You're an operation in Lviv that is a way station for aid that's heading west. You are a networking hub for volunteers going, east to do their thing, and then coming back from the east to, having, it's difficult work, place to rest, place to, a free place.
Right.
You're not just two volunteers. You guys are a hub. You're an operation, and that takes funding, and you need it. So yes, well, every dollar and every contribution counts. It is all those things. At the end of the day, you guys need to get funded so that not just you guys, but all people like me.
No, all of us.
You
No,
need funding.
yeah. Like I mean, it's not like, oh no, we don't need funding, we're so, whatever. That's not the case. But what I want the people in your community, or in your community, whether it's physical or virtual, whatever, to understand is that the work that you are doing is so crucial. So we operate
every little bit helps.
Yeah, exactly. And as you're saying, like, so we might have this hub, this, warehouse, come apartment, come kitchen, come hostel that we operate. That's one thing. That's one of the things that we do. Your intentions are to push further east and work with the people in Kharkiv. Is that where you're targeting?
That's where we'll end up most of the time. Yeah, we'll hit some places on the way there. Yeah, it's about getting aid in and people out.
Exactly. And that's it. As we say in the kitchen, I used to be a chef, is
every
full
dollar.
hands both ways. So you take stuff in and then you take stuff out. So wherever you're going, your hands are full. Yeah. And
every dollar counts.
Absolutely. And $1 in Ukraine right now is huge. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's because the hryvnia is collapsing, because of this war. And we can, we'll see right now it's about 40 hryvnia to the dollar. And there was some financial estimates that we were looking at that seems like it might drop to 120. So this is hyperinflation for the Ukrainians. So food is going to become an issue. Yeah. Fuel, anything to just like drive the machine forward is going to become increasingly more expensive, which is another reason why, like so we're bringing dollars over, and we're going to spend dollars when we can, and just help revitalize that economy, because hard currency is hard currency. Hryvnia is not.
Right. And so, Emmy, you talked about how every dollar counts, and it does. And you guys have seen that kind of up close. But you guys are a base of operations. I mean, it's true that, well, literally, we're kind of a good example, right? I mean, it's a good example of how this works. You guys are going over there. You're in Lviv. That is the perfect place. It's, 40 miles from the Polish. So I'll get there. My team will get there. Chances are you guys will have something in your basement that needs to go somewhere. And that stuff's critical aid. So I'll be there.
It's in the living room, actually.
It's in the living room. I'll have a place to stay for free. That saves me expenses. All those expenses are things that go to, it means I can get more aid. We'll connect. Chances are I'm not the only person that will be coming or going at that point in time. And if nobody else, you guys are a great source of intel. And I'll use that as a launching pad to go do my thing and take aid where it needs to go, and bring people back to where. And then when I get worn out, or whatever, I'll retreat to your place. So you guys are, and I'm just one foreign volunteer. You guys are doing that for countless volunteers right now, and countless that you don't even know about.
Right.
And if I see somebody on the, along the way and they need a place to go, I know, hey, Rocky and Lviv, or Rocky and Emmy and Lviv. And, so my point is what you're doing is really, really, really important. And it's a base of operations for all of us.
Hey, and boss, you as well. Don't, what we're doing seems, like, so we've got to play. I mean, I'm not discrediting what we do, and I know, and I believe in our mission, absolutely 100%. But good folks like yourself and a lot of the other foreign volunteers who are, from all over New Zealand, Germany.
And we learned a lot from
Canada.
you by just meeting you.
Yeah,
and what you were
absolutely. A lot of the
You're
connections
very
that we made initially, came through common bonds that we had in Medica. And, so, and that's one of the things I love about this network that has organically evolved, is that it's just good people. And here's a good person that I met. And, oh, you should meet this other good person that I met, because there are some jerks out there. And, that's not to be taken lightly, so like security about the operations and what we're doing,
Right.
We keep it on the down low over there just to make sure that, there's no nefarious actors.
Nobody even knows my last name. I just say I'm Ben the Bunny.
Exactly.
Well, we make
So
sure
you're-
things
you're-
are going to the right place. and the right
Everybody
people.
knows you over there, brother.
Well,
Everybody knows who Ben the Bunny is.
If I said hi, I'm Ben Dusing, they'd be like, hold on a second. What do you, if I said Ben the Bunny? So here's the question. So you've set aside your life, you've answered a call, everybody calls it something else, but you had a tug on your heart. You knew in your heart you could be helpful. You went over there, you found out that you could be. At this point, you're probably realizing that you could be far more helpful than you ever thought you could be. And you're an essential part of this very beautiful thing that is light in the darkness. But so Emmy, what's your favorite thing about it? Why do you do it?
Well, I guess being with my husband and doing this together, and the effect that we've been able to make, especially with the kids and the families. Like I have a little mini me. Like I spent an hour on the phone with her yesterday.
She's a young woman young girl.
She's 10 years old from Kharkiv. And like being able to just spend time with these families and these kids and know that it's made a difference.
And that, right? That nobody really wants to say that. And I know that feeling. It's amazing how just doing the simple things that you literally almost see. It's undeniable that it makes a huge difference. It's the best feeling in the world, right?
It's so good, and I've always loved working with children, and I've done that throughout my professional and educational career. And one of the things that I'm reminded of is with young people, small, just if you could just direct their trajectory a little bit when they're young, it can make such a great difference, in their lives. It's harder for old men like you and me, where like if you give us a little direction, it's like, yeah, in my day we didn't have the internet.
Yeah, we're screwed.
But
at
with
this
these
point. Yes.
kids, just giving them a little push or
time spent,
or like letting them know
normalcy.
Letting them know that people love them and care about them and that they are precious.
Yeah.
It's really just been so rewarding. And I love these kids. And we hope to do more work with children when we return.
So, and we can wrap this up, but just kind of sort of like a closing bit for the people out there that really, have not been involved in this work. And it's difficult to understand. I don't know that you can fully bridge that gap, but like, Emmy first, Rocky second, sort of what would you want everybody to know about what's going on and what they can do and, about the situation?
I guess, again, this is still very much a war. It's not going away anytime soon. It is active every day. There's people dying every day. There's people escaping every day. And every little bit helps. And we're out there trying to do what we can. And anybody who wants to help in this effort, help us in this effort.
Yeah,
it's well said.
Yeah, and I just want to chime in on that, just saying that's exactly right. This war is not over. It's there every day. It's a horror show out there in the East. And get on the right side of history on this one, people, because like, I've heard some people talking about like, oh, why don't we focus those energies back here at home? And I'm not saying that it's not worth, that there's urgency here as well, but that's just not our mission right now. Our mission is somewhere else. But if nobody's going to say that about the Normandy landing, like, oh, why were we over there expending so much energy, to liberate Europe or whatever? Because we did it. And this is akin to the beginning of World War II. And look what's happening in the Balkans right now. I mean, it could all kick off. Right. So what we need to do is get on the right side of history and get this resolved immediately. Save lives.
And every life matters.
Yep.
And we're trying to do whatever little we can for each little life that we can.
Yeah.
Well, you've done a lot. And, I would answer my own question kind of this way. I guess, what's different about this? And to your point, Rocky, I mean, my message for everyone is, just do good. Do good wherever.
Yes.
We just have to
you can.
Yeah. I mean, if it's not with respect to the Ukrainians, just do good. Just care about other people and do what good you can. To me, this, for me, this is different in that, we've never had a war fought like this, and the level of inhumanity is something that I could not have prepared myself for. And I think for people like us, you read about it, that kind of thing, but you go over there and then you meet these people, especially the kids. And I just, it just becomes such a moral imperative, because it really is.
Absolutely.
It's the humanity of the situation. Humanity has never been so under attack, and the people that can really need to stand up for humanity and be as humane as possible.
Right.
And giving of ourselves the way that we sought to is, I'd like to think the way that we've done that. So.
And let us be their instrument. I'm not asking anybody else to come over there. I don't want to, overburden an already overburdened system.
Right.
But we are the representatives of this great society here in the United States. And I go over there. I've never pretended to be from another country over in Ukraine. I don't wear an American flag patch every day because there's a danger of being snatched by FSB, but we will be your instrument. We just need funds to continue the mission. And I'm speaking for both of us, man, all three of us.
Really the whole volunteer kind of course. So, all right. Well, thank you for taking the time today. And you head over when? Next Monday? Yeah,
Monday, the 5th, we're wheels up.
Okay, I'll see you the following Monday when I show up at your doorstep.
It's so cool, brother.
Can't wait to see it. Thanks for all you do. I love you very much.
No, and to you, brother. Yeah. Slava Ukraina.
Go Slava. I never get to say that part. That's great.